Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful afternoon of music. As many of you know, our wonderful Todd Troutman is going to offer his gifts for the glory of God and for our enjoyment. And I hope that you will enjoy what Todd offers, as well as Joan Hall, who's got a number or two in the beginning. Just one. Okay, just one. But welcome to St. John's, and we're grateful for you to be here, and I hope that you will enjoy the recital. And now I'm going to call upon my compatriot, my fellow cleric, I'll just put it that way, Father John, to lead us in prayer.
Good afternoon. Just a few words of meditation, if you will, to commence this part of the concert. The poet Charles Péguy has written, "Music is good for the soul." And I must say, my own personal experience concurs with that wisdom. Father Cliff has invited me to welcome you to this special offering presented by organist Todd Troutman and also by harpist Joan Hall. I invite you to listen to the voice of God embodied in the music that you will hear. And so take one more step in fulfilling your Sabbath day. Welcome and enjoy this special time with one another and with God. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. And the featured composer is Charles Callahan. And when I went back for my birthday in February, I asked Scott Nelson, I need some solid, not too hard organ music, you know? And he said, well, get Charles Callahan. So in Nashville is one of the best classical music stores in that part of the country. And I went up there and they had a whole file cabinet full of Charles Callahan. So I said, I want all of it. I want all of it. Give me 8 to 10. And so since I got back, I've been playing these various ones of these 8 books I have of his. And if you read the program, his bio is in there. So I'd like to offer a prayer that the Guild organists use at their events. For the greater glory of God and the cause of fine organ music in the church, I do offer God my best. I believe that the office of music in divine worship is a sacred oblation before the Most High. I have been set as an organist in the house of God. It is my duty to work and pray for the advancement of divine worship in the holy gifts of strength and nobleness. I believe that God's house may be purged of its blemishes, that the minds of the believers may be honored in this time and the time to come. Therefore, I do give myself with reverence and humility to these endeavors with the help of God. Without him, nothing is strong and holy. The first number on the program is the Canon in D of Johann Pachelbel. Johann Pachelbel was J.S. Bach's organ teacher, in Leipzig. And about 10 years ago, when I lived in the Bay Area, I was at Epiphany Church in San Carlos. But then after that, I was at a church in Woodside. It's off of 280 going down toward Santa Cruz. And they had a lovely, must have been the original church within a lovely little schoolhouse type building. And then they had the modern building for the church. And they were using this old building for weddings. And they had another organ in there. So, I was there for, a year, and one day, lady calls and says, I'm going to be married there in about a couple of months. I wonder if you'd play the wedding. I said, of course, of course. Now here's the kicker. She says, now, do you know the Taco Bell canon in D? And I said, with sour cream, I do. I couldn't. She said it with a straight face. Taco Bell canon. Oh boy. So anyway, I did it, and I do remember getting $300 for that wedding. It was a simple, fairly simple wedding. No big deal, but did play the Taco Bell canon. So that's the first one on the program. Thank you. Thank you. The next piece on the program is the Processional of Joy, but it's based on Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy. And the reason I'm playing this is because it's arranged by Hal Hobson, and Hal and I go way back. He was at Westminster Presbyterian in Nashville, and this is about 78, 79. Those 2 years, I was a choral scholar there, and remember I was paid $50 a Sunday to be the bass section leader in the choir of about 30. But anyway, Hal and his wife Martha both were excellent organists, and they would take turns. He would direct the choir, and she would accompany, and then sometimes the opposite was true. But Hal now is at Pleasant Valley Baptist Church in Dallas, and he's been there for about 20, 30 years. But he was at Westminster for at least 20 years. And so that's where I know Hal, and have pleasant memories of him. So anyway, this is all based on Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and I know you'll recognize it. I thank you. Now the next.
Is it my turn yet?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot all about it. Here, I'd like to introduce now Miss Joan Hall.
This composer that I'm going, this piece, is by Anne Crosby Gaudet. Oh no, I hate those so much. It's by Anne Crosby Gaudet. She is a Christian harpist and composer and arranger who lives in Nova Scotia. And some of you may have already heard me play her hymn arrangements. This is one of her original compositions, and apparently Mavaletta is the title, is a desperately charming little village in Nova Scotia.
Beautiful, Joan. Thank you. The next piece on the program is the Romance of Jean Sibelius. And going to use the tremulant on the organ. And each manual has a tremulant, and with some flutes and a Dolce Celeste. And I want you to see the difference between those two sounds. Thank you. All right. Now we're getting into Mr. Callahan. If I go in on the YouTube and hear all this stuff getting played. I heard it back in Tennessee. After I bought the music, I'd go on YouTube and listen to it played by a really good organist, and it gave me a good idea of what it should sound like. Anyway, this first one is Highland Cathedral. Now, Mr. Callahan was an Episcopal organist, I believe, in Vermont for 20 years. And then he got an affiliation with Harvard and the National Catholic School in Washington, if you read the biography. So this is the Highland Cathedral. The solo stop will be a trumpet. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next one is called Exultation. Again, it's kind of a fanfare type of piece, and one of the things other than it's easy, good and easy to play, he does these harmonic sequences. You know, ding dong goes down or sometimes up, but these harmonic sequences are very much Baroque. Handel used them, and I'm surprised to see a modern composer using those kinds of sequences. Anyway, this is Exultation. Thank you. It's a sad thing, he passed away last Christmas, 2023. And he had been commissioned by Harvard to write an orchestra piece they call Mosaics. And it was performed, so before he passed away, and maybe the same will be true for me, get my 2 symphonies played before I die. Anyway, the next one on the program is Crimser. Now, as you can see, some of these are loosely based on hymn tunes, like crown him with many crowns or such like that. And if you can pick out the hymn tune in this, you're doing fine. This Crimser has "We Gather Together" as a Thanksgiving hymn. It's in here. It's quoted, what they call quoting. Anyway, this is Crimser. see why I liked it, why I picked it out in the music store? Okay, now this is Simple Gifts. Now everyone knows this tune because it's a Quaker, Shaker Quaker tune. That's in the hymnal. It's in the Episcopal hymnal, but it's in a lot of other hymnals too. But the gift to be simple is the gift to be free. Okay. Oops. Thank you. I won't wait until Thanksgiving to play that again. Well, when I went to Blair Conservatory 50 years ago, 74, 75, they didn't have an organ in their recital hall, you know. But now they got everything, and I'm so proud of them that they affiliated with Vanderbilt University, and that just opened the floodgates for money. Now they can do anything in the world. They have 5 composers on staff, and they've got probably 40 teachers, and it's the school of music for Vanderbilt, which is kind of an oxymoron because Vanderbilt's kind of like Harvard, you know. They're lucky to put a football team together, much less a music degree program. But now Blair School is the best easily in the state of Tennessee and probably 3 or 4 other states. They have about a 50 rank organ in their recital hall. The recital hall is easily as big as this room. And so maybe if I call the director of the new Blair and say, I'm an alumni for 50 years ago, can I do anything? How much does it cost, you know, to get a recital in here? So next year will be a big year for me. 75 to 25. My 50th high school reunion will be in August of next year. And then, of course, my graduation from high school, and then finishing my first symphony. And trying to get that played. So I need prayers about that. So anyway, the next piece on the program is Thornberry. And again, you can hear these harmonic sequences, dum 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 dum, which it's very, it's almost pop. It's almost popular music. Almost is creeping into this. And again, I'll be on the trumpet, And it is based on a hymn tune. Okay. 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 Thank you. Okay, the next piece on the program is the ariette. And that's kind of, you take an aria and you shorten it and you get an ariette. And I played this about 3 years ago here at the church. And I think, okay, no one, as they say at Blair, they don't know to care, they don't care to know. And that's the way this, I don't think you'll recognize it, but it's James Mansfield. Again, he's an American composer, probably from the East Coast somewhere. And the solo stop will be a piccolo, 2-foot piccolo. The next piece is the Panis Angelicus of César Franck. I'm taking my glasses off because I can do this from memory. You know, when I audition for churches or anything, you know, I was in one in Stockton. I think it was a Methodist church. Big organ. I liked it. I got excited. Big organ, you know, and I got up there and I played this Panis Angelicus. And the first thing the lady says, I finally got down off the podium, says, "Where's your music?" Excuse me? Right here? Well, organists have to have music. Excuse me. I got about 100 up here that I can just drop and play. So anyway, this is a punishment. I usually play these for funerals because it's bread of the angels. And the solo stop will be a Nazard, 2 2/3. Okay. Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm 67 years old. I've been in church music for more than 50 years. Seems like it was yesterday. In 73, I was singing at Downtown Presbyterian as a bass section leader. And I remember getting $30 a week. And the whole choir was paid. It was about 15 in the choir. And really good organ there at Downtown Pres. It's an Egyptian motif. And big organ, probably 70 ranks. And so now I've come full circle. You know, 50 years ago, I was accompanying a girls' glee club in high school. Now I'm accompanying a girls' glee club at Waldorf School. God has a way of doing that, bringing it full circle. Anyway, this last piece is something I wrote back in '76, the year after I graduated. I waited 1 year before I went to college. I thought I needed a year off. My parents didn't know, but I waited a year so I could just get my head together. I'd done so much in high school, and I got accepted at Indiana University just on the basis of the symphony. Once I got there, I never got played because you had to be a doctoral student. You had to be a graduate student to even begin to get something played at a college. But they had 5 orchestras, so. But at least I got me in. It was my calling card to get in. And so before I left for Indiana and Bloomington, back then the Amtrak trains went from Chicago down to New Orleans and went through Louisville and Nashville. So I went right up to the college on the Amtrak. But I wrote this thing for the Nashville Symphony Woodwind Quintet, this declamation. And so they sight read it, and they got through it, and they says, "There's no rest in this. Where do we take a breath? It's a nice piece, but there's no rest." And I said, "Thank you for your time." And I went back home and thought, "Wait a minute, I'll make this an organ piece. Organs don't have to breathe." And so that's what I did. So this is a fanfare type of thing, declamation. And again, after this piece, please retire to the fellowship hall where you have lots of goodies that need to be eaten. Thank you. See you in the fellowship hall. Thank you, Father.